guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new IDontWorkHereLady content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
The first story is titled "I Don't Want to Be on the News. Don't Put Me on Camera." I was standing in line to get into the supermarket today and the person just before me was a surly older gentleman who was not wearing a mask or facial covering, and appropriately, wearing a biker jacket with a big patch that read "Duck Helmet Laws." The store has someone at the door, usually a teenager or an elderly greeter, whose job it is to ensure everyone entering the store has a face covering per their nationwide corporate mandate and under our state law. As the man arrived at the greeter, who could not have been a day under 65, she said, "Excuse me, you need a face covering to enter." He said to the old woman in this macho authoritative voice, "No, I don't. It's okay," and tried to walk into the store. The old woman goes, "Actually, sir, you do. It's not just policy anymore. It's the law." And he starts spouting off about how it's an unconstitutional law and how the greeter isn't in a position to enforce laws. A minute or two pass and people further back who can't see what's happening at the front of the line are getting restless. They begin to try and see what's happening. The guy is saying, "Look, you're holding the line. If the masks really do work, then everyone who's wearing one is safe. Right? And if they don't, then why do you care?" And she was getting kind of desperate at this point and said, "Well, sir, because I could lose my job if I let you in there. This is where I come in. I hadn't spoken up before because this was a big guy and I'm just a student who's no good in a confrontation. I figured adding myself to the mix would only make the situation worse. So I took out my phone and started recording. I figured he would be less likely to do something violent to the greeter or escalate further if he knew he was on camera. Here's what I had forgotten. I was wearing a shirt from a 5K that was sponsored by our local news, so had Channel X Eyewitness News in huge print across the front. The guy's wife goes, "Good Lord, Howie, the news is filming. What if my work sees this? Jesus." So he turns to me and starts telling me he doesn't consent to be on TV. And starts making a speech how we're all treading on the Constitution, not respecting people's rights to bodily autonomy or privacy. I'm trying to tell him I'm not with the news and he's like, "I don't care if you're on the clock or not. I don't want to be on camera and I won't be forced to wear anything I don't want to wear. When did we forget that this is America?" Now this is where it got crazy. The line stretched all the way around the building, and people towards the end were realizing it hadn't moved in a while, and were coming up to investigate. An even bigger, more macho guy comes lumbering up and asks what the problem is. Sees this guy going off at the terrified elderly greeter, me shaking holding my phone, and is like, Sir, what's the problem right now? People are trying to shop." The maskless guy tells him, and I quote, "Get away from me. This here isn't your business." The more macho guy proceeds to whip out a badge and identify himself as an off-duty police officer, and that the law is, in fact, his business. First he tries to have the cop arrest me for putting him on the news without his consent. But I just played dumb at that point. My adrenaline was through the roof and if I had been able to retain presence of mind, I would have left by that point and shopped somewhere else. The biker guy is now saying to the cop, "This isn't what you went into the academy dreaming about, man, is it? You're not stopping bad guys, you're forcing regular people to go against their beliefs." Cop said, "No one is forcing you to do anything, sir. You are free to make your own choices. You can put on a mask, or you can go home. Decide which would you like to do, because there is a line here." The biker guy keeps saying he isn't doing anything illegal and he has a right to shop in a public business and the cop just shakes his head and starts quoting the official mask law that the guy is breaking at him. But the biker guy is just talking over him at that point and the cop realizes he isn't getting anywhere. So the cop says, "Look, I don't want to escalate this, but you're not giving me a choice in this situation. If you won't leave of your own volition, you're trespassing." And starts explaining what will happen. The biker guy is ready to stand firm and says he knows he's in the right, but his wife is smarter and says, "Jesus, Howie, are you insane? The man's a police officer." And very ashamedly apologizes as she forces him to leave with various threats. Took nearly 15 minutes to get into the store. Caused a major backlog of shoppers. And made a poor elderly woman fear for her safety. Just wear the mask, or get your groceries delivered. I mean, seriously people. Of all the hills to die on. The next story is titled Old Granny Mistakes Me for a Gardener. A few weeks ago I was working the lawn in my new house. I had just moved in with my wife and we were really working hard to make the place homey. I was already finishing up the lawn when I saw an old granny slowly walking towards me. I turned off my lawn trimmer so I could say hello and not have anything fly towards her. When she came up she kindly asked me, "Excuse me, how much do you charge per lawn?" I looked at her a bit confused, but after remembering my attire, I had a hat, some gloves and safety glasses on, and since I was new in the neighborhood I understood that she had mistaken me for a gardener. I looked at her and said, "Hello, how can I help you, ma'am?" She kindly told me that she wanted her lawn mowed but she doesn't have much money as she lives alone and if I was willing to take 20 for the work. I looked at her place and saw that the lawn in question was incredibly out of control as if it wasn't mowed in months, and since it was a small area I told the kind granny, "Don't worry ma'am, I will take care of it." The deed took me almost 20 minutes to finish mowing and an extra 10 to take the trimmings and clean the surrounding area. After I was done, she came out of her small house with a tall glass of water which I accepted gladly and proceeded to hand me the money. That is when I said, "Don't worry about that ma'am. I am not a gardener, I am actually your new neighbor. I did it because I wanted to, not because of the money." She immediately apologized for the confusion and told me she was ashamed to ask me something like that. I told her to not worry about that and that it was something I did out of the bottom of my heart, and if she needed help with her lawn to please call me again. She began to cry and thank me profoundly and began to tell me her story. Turns out that she was living alone for a while and that her husband died a few months ago and she didn't have anyone to help her as all her children were living in the US. After the tale she thanked me again and we went our separate ways. Now, every time I help her with her lawn she always gives me a bag of fruit from her mango trees or banana trees and a tall glass of water. The next story is titled Kid Blocked My Driveway, Refused to Leave. Today I happened to look out my window to see this unknown SUV backing into my driveway. The driver got out and I saw him look right at our "Do Not Block Driveway" sign. Then he pulled out and positioned his car to park across our driveway, facing the wrong way, anyway. He then walked over towards the apartments next door, leaving the car with its hazards on. My wife was due home from work any minute, so a car staying there blocking our driveway would be a problem. We've had a rash of people doing this over the last few months, many times right as we're trying to leave, thus why we posted the sign just a few weeks ago. I'm working from home, so I gave him until I could put on some real pants and shoes to come back. I was done doing so and his car was still there. I came out of the house to see where he was and he comes walking back. I asked if that was his car and if he saw the sign. He said yes it is and yes he did and proceeds to explain why he parked there. He's picking something up at the apartments and is waiting for the person to bring it out. I told him I didn't care why, and that he needs to move. The apartments have a parking lot, he can park there. He refused, stating he would leave once he got what he was picking up from the apartments. He had this very nonchalant attitude, like he had every right in the world to park there, and yeah, that made me angry. I told him that wasn't acceptable, that this wasn't a debate, and he needed to move. He just had this total oh well attitude when I told him he was blocking our driveway and we were expecting my wife home any minute. Every time I told him to move, he'd repeat his "well, I'm just waiting to" excuse and I'd cut him off telling him I didn't care why, he needed to move. Again, the apartments even have a parking lot, so why people block our driveway so often to do business over there is beyond me. When he kept saying he wouldn't leave until he got what he was waiting for and appeared to head back towards the apartments, I told him that if he wouldn't move then PD would be towing his vehicle. He replied with "that sounds good." I wanted to get one last clip of video of the whole situation in case he did stay so long that I did have to resort to calling PD, but then finally left after I started recording him. I don't know if he thought me narrating to the camera was me talking to police, but either way I guess I called his bluff. The next story is titled I Don't Work Here. I'm the bride. My husband and I recently celebrated our 28th wedding anniversary and we're looking through our old photos and one reminded me of this encounter. Hope you like it. We had a small wedding and a big evening reception for extended family and friends at a local hotel. As a thank you for my mother and newly minted mother-in-law, we bought them bouquets and the staff hid them in the bar stockroom until we were ready for them. I got changed out of my dress and into something I could have fun in after the traditional first dance and dancing with my dad. Things were going well. I met a lot of new family members. The time came to get the flowers. The staff were busy but said I could walk behind the bar and get them myself. As I was headed to the storeroom, a man shouted, "Excuse me." I thought this was for the bar staff because I don't work here. Man, where do you think you are going? Me. Oh, to get the flowers. Man. Well, that can wait. I want stuff I can't remember. Me. Oh, sorry, I can't do that. Man. Why can't you just serve me? I've been here for ages. Me. I don't work here, I'm the bride, and you are? Man went quiet and red in the face. Turns out he worked in the same place as my husband and had tagged along with a group who actually were invited. But despite that, it was a wonderful day and we can still laugh together after 28 years. The next story is titled Truancy Officer Thinks I'm a HS Student. Just read another story where this happened. It's an I don't go here situation though. My family moved to the south after I graduated HS, so my brother had 2 years left and they do block scheduling for classes. All that means is some days he'd get out of school earlier than what we did at our old HS. I go to pick him up from school, it's a 3 hours bus ride or 15 minutes if I pick him up, one day about 1 p. and I'm waiting out in my car in the pickup area kinda near the doors. Here comes Truancy Officer. Truancy Officer. Excuse me, miss, but school isn't out yet, you should be in class. Me. I graduated HS already. I'm here picking up my younger brother, he gets out around 1:15 to 1:30 p.m. Truancy Officer. I've seen you here before, you need to be in class. What's your name? I show him my ID, out of state. Truancy Officer. I know that last name, you do go here. Come inside to the office. Me. Well, obviously brother and I would have the same last name, we're siblings. I go in because 1. I don't want to keep having this issue every time I pick him up. 2. I do need to collect brother, as we both have to go to work, diff jobs thank God. We make our way to the office, where Truancy Officer tells them to look up my name. Office lady. We don't have a student by that name, we do have another student with same last name. Truancy Officer. That's her then, she just gave me the wrong name on purpose. Office lady. The other student is male, sir. She doesn't go here. Me. That would be my brother, could you page him for me? Truancy Officer. No, I've seen her here before, she goes to school here. Office lady. Sir, she doesn't go here. We have no record of any student with her name. Leave her be. Brother arrives to the office, looking confused. Brother. Hey sis, you ready to go? Truancy Officer. See? She does go here. Why would she know students if she doesn't? Brother. My sister is here to pick me up from school, she isn't in the system because she is not a student. Truancy Officer. But I see her every day outsee. Brother turns to office lady and asks if we are okay to dip out. She says yes, so we skedaddle. As we're leaving we can hear office lady trying to explain to Truancy Officer that all current students are in the system and that if he brings in one more random person that he sees outside every day claiming they're a student, she's gonna file a complaint on him. Brother. I've only been going here for a month and I already know that guy is a moron. The next story is titled I'm Not Your Waitress, I'm Your Son's Girlfriend. This was something that happened a lot while ago when I first started dating my now fiancé. It came up in conversation the other day as my fiancé's best man was threatening to put it in his speech, much to the embarrassment of my soon-to-be mother-in-law. My fiancé and I met at university, many miles away from his home city. We were in some of the same classes, and romance blossomed. We'd been a couple for a few months when he said that his parents were coming to see him and wanted to meet me as well. The plan was for us to all go out for dinner together the evening they arrived. However, my boyfriend had an unmissable meeting scheduled just before we were meant to be leaving. We decided that I'd go ahead and meet them, and be interrogated, and my boyfriend would try to hurry up the meeting and go straight from there. I caught the bus into town, however it was just my luck that it broke down halfway through the journey, meaning that I was about 15 minutes behind schedule. I caught my boyfriend just before his meeting to tell him, and he passed on the message to his parents, who replied almost instantly saying that they were already in the restaurant, and gave the location of their table so I could just join them when I got there. This restaurant was fancy-ish, you definitely wear smart casual clothing to dine there, and staff were all in similar dress of white shirt, blouse, pressed trousers and smart shoes. I was wearing the smartest dress I had, that which was a dark red, definitely not uniform. I get there 10-ish minutes late and a little bit sweaty and out of breath, and spotted my boyfriend's parents. I'd seen pictures of them so I knew what they looked like, sitting on a table. I put on a "don't let them know you're nervous" smile and walked over there. This is the conversation that followed. Me. Hi there, sorry I'm late, it's lovely to meet you. Mill. Oh, someone's already taken our drinks order. We'll be ready to order food when the rest of our party get here. Me. I'm not your waitress, my name, fiancé's name, girlfriend. Sorry for being late. My poor future mother-in-law turned the color of my red dress. She apologized for a good 2 minutes while my future father-in-law had a fit of the giggles. It was not the most conventional way of meeting the in-laws, but it definitely broke the ice. It wasn't brought up when my boyfriend arrived, but I mentioned it afterwards and it made him laugh too. Although it didn't have any lasting affect, my mill definitely doesn't want this announced at our wedding. The next story is titled I Don't Work Here, Why Not Do This Again? Now, I am pretty much a fixture in the local grocery store. Almost every day I am in there because I like to cook, but I don't always remember to get all the ingredients and have to go back. I am in the grocery store so much I know most of the staff by name. A couple of my neighbors even work there. But anyway, I was walking around the aisles picking up beef broth, vegetables and whatnot when I saw a lady wandering the aisle aimlessly. So I thought I would be considerate and ask her if I could help her. The elderly lady was looking for baking goods. I know the store like the back of my hand and know where it is. As we walked to the baking aisle, we struck up a conversation. The sweet elderly lady asked me if I would help her with her shopping because she had never been in the store before. I said sure, why not? I wasn't in no big hurry. I live in the apartments right behind the store. Actually behind the store. I can stand on my patio, take off a shoe and actually hit the back of it. We wound up doing all of her shopping together. She began to tell me about her kids and grandkids, and she was soon to be a great-grandmother. She is a very pleasant woman. I actually learned a few things she told me that she had seen in her lifetime. We walked the aisles taking the items on her list and throwing them in the shopping cart, and she would check the items off. Finally, about half an hour later, we proceeded to check out. I told her I would be right back because I almost forgot what I had gone there for. As I returned to the register, the elderly lady was telling the manager what a nice employee I was and didn't want me to get in trouble for taking up my time. Dean, the manager smiled. And told her that I don't there. The elderly lady looked at me puzzled and apologized to me for taking up so much of my personal time. I told her I was in no rush and that I live in the apartments nearby. It turns out she just moved several apartments away across the apartment complex. We walked home to our apartments. She smiled and asked me why I helped her if I didn't work there. I told her that my parents raised me to help others without reward. I gave her the groceries. I told her if she needed help or wanted to go shopping, let me know. The elderly woman said she did her shopping every Monday and if I wouldn't mind going in company. I told her it was very kind of her to try and keep me from getting fired even though I don't work there. So now I have a shopping buddy and someone to talk with and share coupons. I know this doesn't have a screaming entitled Karen or Brat, but I just wanted to share this I don't work here story. So thanks for reading. Have a great day. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and post some bear emojis in the comments.